Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Beyond topic of Southeast Asia, what makes a unicorn. So today we're gonna have great panelists. How many people here went to the pool party yesterday? Are you guys recovered? I see hands. Recovery? Great. So Southeast Asia is a region that is rapidly rising in global significance. With a population of over 650 million people and a growing middle class, the region is poised to become a major economic powerhouse in the coming years. With the tech industry driving this growth, the region's internet economy is projected to exceed $240 billion by 2025. A new breed of unicorns are at the forefront of this growth, using innovative business models and leveraging emerging technologies to achieve success. They represent a new generation of startups that are employing new strategies in both business and investment to succeed in the fast-paced tech landscape of Southeast Asia. We're going to be joined by three esteemed panelists today. We have Kamarul, and Kamarul is the founder and CEO of Aerodyne. I think in the last talk, Thomas gave you a shout out. We're going to talk about your Aerodyne a little later. So we have Mimi, and Mimi is the founder and CEO of Techsauce Media. She also does a great Techsauce summit as well in August. So this is actually my favorite summit to attend in Southeast Asia, actually. So great job there.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have XL. He's the deputy CEO of ESCO Lifesciences Group. So we're going to do one question, and this one question is going to go to the three panelists. Other questions would be a little bit more tailored, but I want to get your idea and really understand what you think. What do you define as the key ingredient for success as a startup in modern Southeast Asia? Maybe we can start with you, Kamarul.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. I'm very excited to be here this afternoon. What makes a good startup? I think the first thing that all startups should do is really to look at what key problem are we solving, right? And that's what we do as well. I think find key gaps in society that we can make a significant impact and focus on those. And then find the right technology, develop the right technology, build the right team, build the right people in your organization to deliver the solution.
Mimi?
To be the successful startup in Southeast Asia, I think that because Southeast Asia is very fragmented, we have like more than 650 million people across this region. And I think to be the successful startup, not just only in their market, but outside, for example, like outside Thailand or outside Indonesia, one of the most important things is whether they are B2C or B2B, the local culture. To understanding the local culture, customization is very important. Like B2C, they need to understand the market and the behavior of each market. But for B2B, know who is very important in this market. For example, if you want to connect with the big corporate in Thailand or Indonesia, know who is very important to help you to connect with the big corporate in that country. So if you want to expand not just only in Thailand or the other country in Southeast Asia, I recommend you to study more about the local market, customize your solution, and connect with the right people. So this is the key ingredient to be the successful startup in Southeast Asia.
XL?
Yeah, I think Southeast Asia is an interesting place, right? We have a huge diaspora, but still as a region on a block on its own, whilst our governments are trying to work towards harmonization, that is still going to take some time before we really have full economic harmonization across ASEAN countries. So the market isn't huge in terms of like reinvestment or like big in the USA or China. Neither are there really exit strategies in terms of listing, right, in a way. So a lot of Southeast Asian countries still look towards Hong Kong, or even Australia, which is maybe closer by to exit, or even USA, right? So these are the interesting areas in that sense. But still, actually, I think increasingly so, given the global, geopolitical or localization, I guess, is a way as well. Then actually Southeast Asia has a very interesting role to play. Many companies within China are then looking towards Vietnam, for instance, which is then called as the next China, as well as actually other countries within Southeast Asia to actually be the window to the world to then export out, right, in a way. I mean, a good example, of course, is like TikTok and, the Singapore CEO where I'm from had to face a huge inquisition from USA, but still in that sense, we have a role to play within Southeast Asia to really be the window towards the world and a nexus between East and West. So I think that geographical advantage is interesting on its own. And then actually another point in that sense is that because of the market size is kind of fragmented itself, then the best companies that we have seen, or unicorns in that sense, or to be, actually are operating in a niche, right, in that sense, that they can be the first in class in the world rather than being a fast follower. So I think those are the interesting areas for unicorns in Southeast Asia. Yeah.
Great to know your insights. So why don't we just learn a little bit more about where you get your insights from? So maybe you could take a minute or two to introduce yourself. So, XL.
Yeah, so I'm XL, so I'm the Group Deputy CEO and actually the CEO for ESCO Ester, which is then a spin-out from our parent company itself. So we are still affiliated to our parent company. Singapore is our corporate and global headquarters. We are founded in 1978, so we are operating in 42 locations, 8 factories around the world, 1,600 full-time employees. So we are mainly the largest homegrown biotech company within Southeast Asia. We are serving the sectors of applied sciences, medtech, healthcare, biotech as well, in that sense. So we are the first in the world in various domains. We are the first in the world, for instance, to be certified for commercial sales of cultivated meat or cell-based meat. So this is slaughter-free meat, which is a huge sustainability thing. Of course, this is enabled by our Singapore Food Agency, and Singapore itself operates, is the first country in the world to have a novel food regulatory framework. And then we are the first in different areas as well for biotech, like in exosomes and nanomedicines as well. So broadly, I guess that's what we do, but then, we cut across actually many industries in that sense, which makes it quite fun. I mean, even to things like doing bioconcrete using precision fermentation, right? Or using precision fermentation to make cultivated milk, right, for instance. So, yep, as a whole, this is what I'm doing, yep.
Maybe tell us about your background and how did you get started at Techsauce?
Okay. My background is an engineer and worked with the biggest mobile operator in Thailand almost 12 years before making the decision to establish my own company. Before starting Techsauce, I running another 2 startups before. One failed, but another one is exit to one of the unicorn in Korea, which is a social media monitoring tool. And this is the reason why that I set up Techsauce, because we have seen that to educate the startup in Thailand is quite hard to provide the resource. And most of the content is in English. For example, if Thai people who would like to learn more about how to run the business, especially for the startup side, we have to read from the like a TechCrunch or maybe the web portal from Singapore. But how can we help them to understand in the local language? So starting Techsauce to be it's not just the media, but it is the communities to gathering all the startup to meet the VC. So this is the reason that we set up the media portal and running Techsauce Global Summit event to gathering all the people, key stakeholders, and creating the communities to help each other. And right now, Techsauce Global Summit, I think it is one of the biggest tech conference in Southeast Asia with 15,000 people. And the next step of the Techsauce is currently we spin off another business unit to help the startup with the accelerator program, to gathering all the startup, not just only in Thailand, but who want to, we accept the startup from China, from Korea, from other countries who want to expand to Southeast Asia and use Thailand as a springboard to So Thailand can be the test bed market for you guys before expanding to other countries. So welcome everyone in this room. If you want to expand to Southeast Asia, you can apply Thailand Accelerator Program.
Thanks, Mimi. Maybe Kamarul, tell us about yourself.
Sure, I have previous past lives. I spent about 10 years in the UK as a financial engineer. Right, but of course with a deep, keen interest in technology. So I started the company about 8 years ago. We started with 3 people. Now we're about 1,000, and we have operations now in 44 countries around the world. So what we do is we are a DT3 company. We use drone technology, but the core tech from Aerodyne is actually the data technology, the data tech. So we use AI that allow us to get deep insights from our drone technology, and not limited to just that. We take weather data, we take satellite data. So all of this will move towards giving effective digital transformation for our customer. So how do we define digital transformation? Japanese call it haya yasui umai anzan. So we deliver a solution that makes sense, faster, better, cheaper, and safer for our customer. So that's what we do.
Great, thank you. So we're going to be separating today's talk in 3 themes. So the first one is going to be new generation, new business models. So disruptive business models have been a hallmark for the success of many unicorns in Southeast Asia, enabling them to create new opportunities and disrupt traditional industries. We're going to dive deeper into the strategies and insights of the panelists on the disruptive business models that have propelled these companies to success. So the first question is for you, Kamarul. Drones have been becoming increasingly commonplace in recent years, with many people now able to easily purchase them and use them in their daily lives. Against this backdrop, Aerodyne Group has emerged as a leader in the drone industry. Could you share with us how Aerodyne has been able to stand out from its competitors and become the success it is today?
Thank you. And that's exactly what I talked about earlier as well. I mean, drone industry, everybody knows that. Some of the big drone player actually comes out of China. The best drone hardware companies are DJI, out of China as well, and a lot of others as well. But drone itself is really a tool to capture data or a vehicle for you to do delivery. But at the end of the day, the real value is how do you actually make meaningful impact to society? And that's actually what we do. We reinvent, we look at our business model itself. We started off as a company that is what we call a DAS, Drone as a Service. In fact, we trademarked the name as well. That's our company. So initially it was just Drone as a Service company. So we grew significantly as well. But that is actually just an easy part. So everybody started to do that as well. So around the world, there's a lot of companies started to do Drone as a Service as well. Then we realized that running a drone company is not just about flying. The real value is about data. Then we added our software as a service as well, so that we can provide a one-stop solution to our customer. Now, moving forward, we have now expanded even beyond that even. We are looking at the adjacent of all these services that we provide. So for example, when we do agriculture, in the beginning, we provide agriculture solutions using drone and provide the analytics that people can harness insight from the health of their trees, how to increase their yield, how to reduce the operational costs, and so on and so forth. Now we realize there are other adjacent work that we can do with regards to agriculture again. Again, I will not go into detail, but the evolution here is actually about looking at gaps throughout the value chain of where we are operating and giving that greater value to our customer. Customer loves that. And that is the reason why we have been able to grow nicely over the last couple of years.
Yeah, congrats on that. So, Mimi, you're known for being a pioneer in building Thailand's startup ecosystem. From your unique perspective as a startup community builder, what advantages do you think Southeast Asia startups have compared to other startups in the region?
It's a good question. In Thailand, there are like 2 types of the companies. The first one is, I call it a small medium enterprise or SME. And most of them are like a family business. And from the type of the companies, I think that there are like great opportunities for the second generation or the third generation of the SME who are looking for and help their grandparents and to transform their business. So from the family business, most of them, they have like a domain expertise. For example, like construction industry, food and agriculture. This is some example. And for particular area like this, they also understand the whole value chain and what is the key pain point of that particular industry. So the second generation or the third generation right now, they study abroad and then come back. And they see that, oh, the digital and technology can help them to transform their business. So they can use the existing core business and find out the new solution to support and spin off to be the startup, to be the tech startup. So these are great opportunities for the startup in Southeast Asia and also the unfair advantage as well because they really understand what is the pain point in that country. And the second type of the company is a big corporation in this region like Thailand. We have seen there are many billionaires, even Indonesia as well, Philippines as well. They are also struggling about how can they find out the new S-curve. So they have the potential to buy and invest in the technology company, for example, like this. For example, like one of the key industry they have seen at this time is one of the big trend is a healthcare industry. Like in Thailand, for example, right now there are many hospital chain. Some of 3 to 4 companies they spin off the corporate venture capital and they trying to looking for the startup to invest. So this is one of the key advantage of the startup that they can reach out to the big corporate who have the budget, but they don't know how to work with the big they cannot do it by themselves. So this is the way that they can partner with the local startup in each market to find out the new S-curve together.
Great insights. Excel. So we have a question. ESCO Life Science Groups works closely with Southeast Asian markets. So your mission is to provide affordable vaccines and healthcare to developing nations. What changes have you noticed in the Southeast Asian biotech industry, and how has ESCO been able to achieve success in those changing times?
Yeah, I think on the vaccine front in that sense, so we are actually working on One World, One Health. So actually more than 90% of human diseases are zoonotic or from animals in origin. So actually by vaccinating animals, actually we can have better healthcare for humans, right? The other interesting trend actually related to animal health as well is that there's a huge boom in the companion animal market, right? A lot of people are getting married later, so a lot of people look towards having pets as their companion for their family, right? Kind of almost a substitute for having a kid together, right? In a sense. So there is a huge trend in terms of animal health. Part of it, of course, is due to the less people are putting antibiotics in animal feed. So the only way actually to have better animal health is through vaccination, right? And Southeast Asia is very interesting. We are home to some of the largest players in this space. Both from Thailand and Vietnam. There's huge exports in terms of aquaculture from fish to processing of tuna, like Thai Union, for example, or even catfish is hugely exported from Vietnam. And these are all huge, actually, conglomerates, right? So on the vaccination front, there's increased awareness also of vaccine self-sufficiency. Biopharma in Indonesia is designated by WHO as a site for developing countries for vaccines. We are home to all of the developing countries for vaccination as well, so via the DCVMN, which is the Developing Countries Vaccine Manufacturing Network. Then more and more countries we see, both in animal health and also in terms of human health, are then looking to build up their vaccine self-sufficiency. In the healthcare area, the expenditure actually for healthcare that's projected until 2030 is the largest globally at the moment, right? The average healthcare expenditure per private expenditure that is in the way, so not including even government reimbursement, is about 10% as an average within Southeast Asia. And Vietnam is the largest actually at 20.8%. So in the healthcare space, we are really seeing more and more hospitals, medical centers that are more specializing in these areas. Of course, due to both the combination of silver tsunami and then people getting married later, then it's a huge boom as well in the fertility market, right? Because So there's more and more people that need to rely on IVF to have kids, right, in that sense. So we are seeing more of this. Cancer rates are still huge in a way, due to various factors, including alcohol, unfortunately. And both Thailand and Vietnam are huge beer drinking countries. So, the rate of cancer actually is extremely higher for one reason or another for certain specific types of cancer. So these are the areas in which we are actually, there's the largest growth rate globally at the moment in Southeast Asia, and we are capitalizing on these opportunities with, to build up the ecosystem and to work with the entire community. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So we're going to move on to our second theme now, and it's going to be the disruption of technology. So the tech landscape in Southeast Asia is in a state of constant evolution, with emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, others reshaping traditional industries and creating new opportunities for growth and innovation. As new technologies like AI and blockchain continue to disrupt and take the world by storm, let's explore how emerging technologies are impacting the future of your respective industries. How are they leveraging these technologies to stay ahead of the curve? So the question for you, Kamarul, is how do you see the role of AI evolving in the drone industry? And what opportunities do you see for emerging technologies like AI to enhance Aerodyne's drone technology and applications?
Sure. So if you look at the evolution of the drone industry itself, in the beginning, drones are humanly operated. It's piloted from the ground. So I think one of the main key values of AI is actually to go for more autonomy. So as drone becomes better physically with all the various sensors, it can fly by itself. But it needs to have the intelligence of how it will do its own operation. So drone can understand. If you develop an AI model that can understand the environment, understand the assets, what the drones are supposed to do, then it can do a far more effective work, and doing so without the failure of human pilot that can introduce into it. So that's part one. Part two is really about automating the process of extracting intelligence from those data itself. So this can be done in two ways, either on the edge itself or even post-processing. And this is actually a very significant impact to the industry itself. I'll give you an example. So one of the use case for drone is actually for the purpose of inspecting telco tower. And we do quite a lot of this. We do thousands and thousands of this tower inspection around the world. We even do a global inspection for the rollout of 5G. So when you use drone to do inspection of telco tower, a lot of the time it's about manually flying or automatically flying and capturing the data. And it will require people or engineers to actually process this data and gain insights from those data. And it takes a very long time because you are doing this manually. A single tower would take 3 to even 5 days to process. So over the past a year and a half or so, we have actually spent a lot of effort to automate this process, developing AI model, the intelligence system behind this. So we have been able to reduce the number of hours that would take to process a single tower from 136 hours to less than 15 minutes. So that is actually a significant impact of the effectiveness of doing the data itself. Second options, or the second idea on how AI can actually produce significant impact into this is actually by running drone operation in a swarm intelligent manner. So in the past, you have a single drone to go out and fly, piloted by an individual, and then you can have another team flying as well, but it's all independent. So one of the ideas that a lot of companies are also working on right now is actually how can we swarm all of these drones together so that collaboratively, every single drones are working together to harness, to make it far more efficient. For example, if the task is to take care of a perimeter, it could be a river or facility and all that, right? So let's say one drone is flying out there and then looking at the safety of the particular area, and it detects an intrusion. So then you can follow that, and you can see that the intruder is actually going towards the other side. So that drone can actually communicate with another drone and make sure, can you go and wait the other side, and fly a little bit lower, in the layman's term, start taking the numbers and so on and so forth. So collaboratively require all the intelligence for all these individual technology to work together. And it's not just limited to drone alone, because you can have CCTVs. you can have cameras all around the place as well. And these cameras are also, we can actually have a vision system that can also analyze the same data. So if we can have all of this intelligence and data being organized and to improve the operation, that will have significant impact. So this is just an example of how AI can actually improve. Of course, there's going to be a lot more. If you are interested, we can have a conversation outside this forum, but that's some of the impact AI would have in our industry.
Great. Everybody's going to have a chance to speak to everybody after this talk anyway. So this is for you, XL. So leading healthcare experts predict in 2023 is going to be a pivotal year for the medtech industry, as rapid adoption of virtual care and demographics fades, such as aging population, rising chronic diseases, and health worker shortages. What are your thoughts on the future of biotech, medtech startups in Southeast Asia?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think we have seen the use of machine learning and AI, for instance, to replace some of the tasks that humans are doing, right, in terms of even looking at CT scans, MRI scanning, and we are better able to detect multiple diseases, right, whether it's breast cancer, for instance, for mammographs, or some other types of eye diseases, for instance. I think by then, in that sense, and it may take longer, of course, actually, than that, but so right now, AI and machine learning is often used in all of medtech or biotech as well to design better drugs, right, in that sense. I think actually the next evolution would be enabled by all of this blockchain, crypto, Web 3.0, Industry 5.0, 5G, so on and so forth, would be AI talking to AI, right? So, and we all here want to live, increase our health span in that sense, and live healthier and longer. So, what if one day, for instance, we have an AI that can predict our gut health, for instance, and that translates then to another machine that will actually provide us precision nutrition to enable us to have a better gut. Because actually, your gut health is, other than being linked to the gut-brain axis, it actually also and interestingly enough, linked to different types of cancer even. So, having this kind of like AI to talk to AI and provide better healthcare I think would really be the next evolution for all of us, right? And this honestly may take longer than may even take up to 2040 even, or 2050, right? But I think this is really the next frontier in which we have machines talking to machines to have better preventive healthcare for all of us in the room. And I think there are a lot of interesting areas which we are looking at as well. And yeah, also really happy to talk to everyone to share our thoughts and see how we can work together. Yeah.
Mimi, so ChatGPT is the big thing right now, and chatbots, conversational AI. How do you see these technologies changing in your space, in the media space, and how this media is going to be delivered and consumed in the future?
Yeah, when we mention about the AI, actually there are the different type. AI is like a big picture, and the subset is machine learning and deep learning. So right now, when we mention about the conversational AI, currently one of the most the significant technology that are disrupting the media is called generative AI. That means the AI, which generative AI is a part of the deep learning that can generate the content by itself. Previously, we think that AI, we have to train the data. We give the data for them, and they learn the pattern and create the insight. But right now, they can think it by themselves. And yeah, one of the good example inside my company, we have like a copywriter. We use some of the outsourced to be our copywriter. And right now, if we want to create like an MC script for our event, or maybe check out the content whether it is a correct grammar or not. So the copywriters actually they don't need to do it. ChatGPT can do it. But anyway, if you use ChatGPT, I believe that some of the content I think that you're curious that whether the content is correct or not. Sometimes it provides the content without any the source, or they do not mention that how can they provide this data. So I think the most important thing is we should upskill and reskill our journalists to have the critical thinking, and human judgment is still really important, because as we have known that the ChatGPT maybe cannot provide the right data, but at the same time they I think we would like to say that ChatGPT can be our co-pilot. It's not like the another person who can replace yourself, can replace our staff. But what we can do is like a co-pilot that we can work together. They provide and generate the content, but at the same time, our journalists have to use the judgment, because they still have the problem about the critical, about the what is it? We call it the ethic. The ethical of the AI still have the issue about this part. Maybe they provide some of the content that is not good for our kid, or maybe not good for our society. So we should work with them as a complementary. We will not disrupt the media side, but it should be like our co-pilot.
Thank you. So we're going into our last theme. So our last theme is investing into the future in Southeast Asia. So this question is for XL. So your company has been very, very successful in fundraising from both Chinese and international investors. What challenges did you face fundraising, and what advice do you have for new startups who are looking to fundraise?
Yeah, so we raised $200 million in 2020. So this was through a variety of investors that have invested in us. So in a way, I think the interesting thing in that sense is that we have representative across the world globally, from both US and China cross-border fund to European via Novo Holdings, also both Singapore and China government, interestingly enough, on our cap table. So this actually provides a very interesting mix, because on the West, they are actually more conservative in that sense. They are looking at growth capital and traditional nip and tucks and very steady growth. Versus in Asia, they are all more about grow faster, right, in a way. In fact, we often get questions in board meetings like, why are you not spending the money you invested in you, right? Can you go faster and spend faster? So actually, it's a very interesting difference in that sense and dynamic, but actually it makes us very disciplined, having to, because if we can find a middle path and please everybody in that sense, which honestly is quite hard to do at times, but that really allows us to really have the best of both worlds. So I think one of the important things, however, then for startups that are looking to raise money is, and I always get this question a lot as well, but every time when I ask a startup, okay, so what is your exit you have in mind? And oftentimes they can't even answer this basic question, right? And then, the next thing I ask them is that, okay, what category are you playing at? Are you looking to be the first in class, a fast follower, best in class, best in market? And they can't even answer that as well, right? So then I think that really, those fundamentals need to be answered before then you work backwards to find who is your cornerstone investor that will give you that exit in that X number of years, right, in a way, because there are many different types of funds that would then be your cornerstone or lead you to your cornerstone in that sense. So having beginning and end in mind, I feel, is quite important. Yeah.
Great. And Kamarul, you're looking to raise a round right now, $200 million round, and you're looking to IPO the next year or two. So what's your advice that you have to give startups right now looking to fundraise?
Well, first of all, we are living in a very strange time right now. I mean, it's a very soft market. There's a lot of uncertainties right now. Number one, tighten your belt. Be prudent, number one, when it comes to fundraising. Don't raise more than you need right now. For us, for example, the first 6 years of our operation, we only raised a small amount of money. So you raise gradually. So maybe even break it up, because right now the situation is different. It's strange right now. So I think that's what we need to be looking at. And don't be so hard up about valuation. Right now it's about growing, about growth. Focus on that.
Great. So
yeah, in the interest of time, I'm looking at the time.
In the interest of time, we'll look at the time. So Mimi, you're going to wrap it up with this question then, right? So you actually have great insight in Southeast Asia. So maybe you could tell us things that you believe investors have not been aware of in Southeast Asia. What can you share with us?
I think there is a lot of opportunity for like one of the biggest trend that we have seen is food and agriculture. Because in Thailand, in Indonesia, even Vietnam as well, in the Philippines, we have like a lot of the ingredient. And when we're talking about the food and agriculture, some people think that, oh, it's just like a food delivery platform or so, but that is like downstream side. But at the midstream and the upstream, actually there are so many things that you can use the technology to transform. For the upstream, for example, like biology and drone as well can help the agriculture to improve their efficiency. And the midstream, it is more related to manufacturing part. So there are many manufacturing in Thailand, in Indonesia. They are looking for the solution to help them to improve their their internal process. For example, the digital twin, how to use the robot inside the manufacturing. So there are many solutions, not just only talking about the downstream side, but upstream and midstream still have a lot of opportunity that startups should tap into this part.
Great. So it looks like our time is up, but I do want to thank all the panelists. It was amazing to learn some about your insights about Southeast Asia, raising money, funding, and technologies. So I think the Beyond Venture has been a great success this year, and I hope to see Beyond Venture next year. Thank you so much, and a round of applause for the panelists, please.